May I come in, sir? Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Shivang,
Yes. Thank you, sir.
have a seat, Shivang. Shivang, you are from Sambal, Uttar Pradesh,
Yes, sir.
and you have done your BCom
Yes, sir.
and MCom also. MCom, the subjects is HRM. Normally, HRM is part of MPM, isn't it, or MBA?
No, sir. Sir, in MCom, we have a lot of subjects, which include subjects of accounting and the parts of management also. So, HRM is a part of management.
Okay. And what is your optional?
Sir, my optional is commerce and accountancy.
Commerce and accounting. And your hobbies include blogging. What is blogging?
So, plugging is a word which is derived from plugger and up. So, it's a combination of collecting litter while doing jogging. So, it's a
Collecting
combination of
litters while doing jogging.
Yes, sir.
So, what does P indicate?
Sir, P implies plocka. Plocka is a Swedish word.
Plucking.
P in the plugging. So P is for plocka. It's a combination of plocka and jogging. So it implies plocka. Plocka is a Swedish word. So it means collecting litter.
All right. So you are contributing towards the Swachh Bharat Abhiyan.
Yes, sir. Swachh Bharat and my fitness goals, sir.
Okay. All right. Okay. So Shivang, the first question would be: do you think Nota option in elections really makes sense?
Sir, I prefer, I would say, sir, it makes sense, sir. People have the choice of not choosing the options which are available to them. So it makes good sense, sir.
So that means that people are becoming disillusioned because if a person is not able to find anyone suitable, that means something is wrong with our election system and some reforms are necessary.
I wouldn't say, sir, people are being disillusioned because at the end of the day, they are casting their vote. But they are not choosing the persons who are there in the panel.
So what does it lead to?
So it leads to the freedom of expression, sir, the way the people wants to.
So that means they are indecisive. They don't know whom to vote. Who is the suitable candidate? That is why it is Nota, isn't it?
So I would like to disagree, sir, here.
Okay, then tell me.
People are not able to find the correct options among the suitable candidates which are there.
So this is precisely, na?
Yes,
so that means they are not able to make up their mind as to which of those candidates they would like to vote. So it's a kind of a negative vote, isn't it? Not giving in favor of anyone.
Sir, I would say it's a kind of transformatory vote. So they are indicating to the political system that the candidate you have chosen by a lot of political parties. So we don't like these sort of candidates which you have chosen for us.
Okay. Now tell me, what are the changing relationship between India and Bangladesh?
Sir, in the recent times?
Yeah.
Sir, recently we have seen the rise of Bangladesh. Per capita income of Bangladesh has risen significantly. However, sir, in the very recent times, we have also seen the economic crisis situation in the Bangladesh. So, in that parlance, we have seen, sir, the people-to-people relations with Bangladesh has been good, and the political relation in the form of energy diplomacy, water diplomacy, and connectivity. We are focusing on these domains.
Some recent past, not so recent, the Prime Minister made a visit to Bangladesh. What was the reason?
I'm not sure, sir.
Okay, all right. You can go and read about it.
Okay, sir.
Can illiterates be given driving licenses? And second question is, should illiterates be given driving licenses?
So I would say, sir, driving is something which is not concerned with the literacy, because we have.
It's not concerned.
Yes, sir. Driving is a skill, sir.
The traffic signs which are on the road.
Yes, sir. So they are traffic signs and symbols which even an illiterate person can understand, sir. You just have to make them understand whether you are able to read and understand these symbols. It is fine for illiterate.
Recently, there was a judgment of Rajasthan High Court which said that illiterates should not be given driving licenses because they are a hazard, because they are not in a position to read and write. So many times the signs and symbols are in words. So they will not be in a position to understand that.
Yes, sir. But I would say, sir, it
But
would
you
make.
think that it should.
Yes, sir.
Is it that the if all illiterates they can get a license, but in some cases, some licenses they cannot get license. What is that?
Sir, there's a driving license test. So I think if they are not able to qualify
For
that.
commercial vehicles, there has to be a minimum educational qualifications.
Okay, sir.
For
I'm
private
not aware
vehicles,
that.
yes, there is no qualification now. Okay, so do you think PPP model is the need of the hour now? Because we have the amount of financial resources which we have got is becoming, plateauing. You can't, increase the taxes beyond a certain limit. So, do you think PPP model is the answer for this country?
So I would say the cooperation of private individuals and the government would go simultaneously. So the crisis of resources or the scarcity of resource or the
What
finance.
does private party bring through the PPP model
So
to the project?
private party brings, sir, number one is capital, number two is, sir, technological know-how, and, sir, best practices is also involved in case of.
And one more thing,
Yes, sir.
which is very important thing: capital, resources, expertise, know-how. That is true.
Yes.
One more thing is there, which makes it very necessary for government to work in tandem with private sector. What is that thing which private sector brings?
At the moment, I am not able to think.
It's sharing of risk.
Yes, sir.
The sharing of risk is one of the very important things the private sector brings. Okay.
Shivang, your optional is commerce and accountancy.
Yes, sir.
What is the role of audit in a company?
Sir, audit is a systematic examinations of the books of companies. So it helps the auditor to express the opinion regarding the truthfulness and the fairness of the accounting system a company pursues.
Does it play the role of a watchdog
Sir, yes.
or a bloodhound?
It plays the role of a watchdog, sir.
Watchdog. Huh?
Watchdog, sir.
What happened in the case of Satyam scam? You must be
Yes, sir.
remembering that scam. Eh? What happened in that case? Failure of audit?
Sir, yes. Precisely the failure of an audit by PwC. Apart from it, sir, the promoter of the company and the owner of the
And
company.
what about the internal audit?
Sir, the owner management is hand in glove with the internal audit system. Of that
But internal auditors report direct to the CEO of the company, not to the board.
Yes, sir.
Am I right?
Sir, yes, but, sir, board has a significant influence over the appointment of internal auditors, and they are, sir, they make hand in glove with the external auditor also. So they have the right to appoint who will be the external auditor. So in that case, that becomes difficult to find a fraudulent audits.
C&AG is also playing the role of an auditor. You know? It's
Yes,
a
sir.
statutory auditor for the government of India, and it is its duty to ensure that the expenditure is incurred in the most prudent manner. You know,
Yes, sir.
with austerity and without breaking rules and all. Huh? But the present C&AG, the general opinion is that they're not performing their duty diligently, even though it enjoys a constitutional status, but they're just keeping their, lips sealed. They don't indicate, they don't point out any errors.
Sir, I would say that's a general perception, but I would like to disagree with this notion, sir. CAG is performing its role very diligently, sir. There are, in the last decade itself, there are a couple of scams which has been disclosed by the CAG, along with the help of Public Accounts Committee, who is reviewing the reports. So CAG is performing its reports, sir, but there are challenges in the functioning of CAG, like.
Okay. You must be aware of the live-in relationship, the concept, which has been decriminalized by the Supreme Court.
Yes, sir.
Do you agree with this stand taken by the Supreme Court?
I would say it's a part of Article 19 and Article 21 freedom of speech and expression and
No, I'm
liberty.
talking of live-in relationship.
So people are expressing their way of life, sir, how they would like to live to life.
But does it not weaken the institution of marriage? The sanctity of marriage is broken. Nobody.
So, I would say, sir, youngsters are exploring the way they want to pursue their life partner. So that's a matter
And what
of their
happens
choice.
to the live-in partners after they break up? After breakup, they separate.
Yes, sir.
And what happens to their life?
Sir, joining as a live-in partner was their consensual decision, and breaking up is it's sometimes a part of it. So after that, sir, they will explore different parts of their life. Sir. Maybe they are not able to work good.
Has Supreme Court laid down any guidelines or suggested any guidelines to safeguard the future of the live-in partners, particularly the women?
I'm not sure about the guidelines, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, your hobby is something to do with writing good quotes.
Yes, sir.
What is your most favorite quote that you've written?
English quote, sir.
English, yeah?
Okay. Sir, I believe, sir, there's a quote, our life is what our thoughts make it. So it's a quote which gives our message that the way we think, it is how our life will be happen. So जैसे बोलते हैं जैसी दृष्टि वैसी सृष्टि. It's in the worm. It's this.
So, on an average, how many thoughts cross a man's mind in a day?
So there are lakhs of thoughts which came to a person's mind. However, we have to filter a lot of thoughts in order to have a categorization of the thoughts and the way we want to work.
So, it's generally believed that between 50,000 to 70,000 thoughts cross a man's mind every day. So, that's a good quote, because if you allow 1% of these negative thoughts to germinate in your mind, then
Yes, sir.
it will undo the good of everything else. Now, tell me, who said this? At his best, man is the noblest of all animals. Devoid of law and justice, he is the worst.
I'm not sure, sir, who said this.
Okay, it is one of the Greek philosophers. I think it's Socrates.
Okay, sir.
Now, what do you read out of this? As a bureaucrat, what lesson will you take from this?
So it signifies even in the worst circumstances, men won't do the things which animals do in order to make the survival. Means animals, the human existence is above the animal existence of life. So man won't do such sort of activities like killing the other animal counterparts.
I think it says just the opposite of what you're thinking. At his best, man is noblest of all animals. At his best. When he's conscientious, when he's ethical, he is best of all animals. But devoid of law and justice, he is the worst.
Okay.
Right?
Yes.
So, would you think if I say, if a man started to learn to behave like a dog, he'll be a better human? How do you comment on this statement?
I would say, sir, there is one aspect which person can learn from dog, that is loyalty. Apart from it, sir, the intelligence of human have, the objectivity and the system they have put in place. So I believe, sir, human is much better than dog at any point of time.
All right. You see, very recently, US said that UK said they're going to send Challenger tanks to Ukraine.
Okay.
And some other countries have also promised to send tanks to Ukraine. How does it change the dynamics of Ukraine-Russian war? IFS is one of your options?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, first of all, sir, I'm not sure about the technicalities of these Challenger tanks they are talking about.
It's a tank which is a very offensive, effective weapon of battlefield.
Okay. So I think perhaps it will cause a lot of collateral damage to the Russian counterpart. So the loss which Russia would incur will be in huge numbers in terms of personnel and the assets they are using in the war. So that will be a complete game changer, because Russia, the capacity of Russia to incur a lot of expense would be reduced if this Challenger tank will be imposed.
So does it impact the way the war is going to progress in future? This is the most offensive weapon of battlefield.
Certainly, it will tilt the favor. It will tilt the war in the favor of Ukraine because it will be able to release the portion which has been captured by the Russia.
All
If
right.
it is that powerful weapon, sir.
Fine. What is the characteristics of a good team?
Okay, sir. So I believe, sir, a good
There's
team.
a good team, there's a bad team. How will you what will stand out for a good team and what will stand out for a bad team?
Sir, for a good team, it will be very important for the members to understand each other. Point number one would be this. And sir, secondly, the players would be able to complement and supplement each other's quality. Sir, that would be second point. And thirdly, sir, they must stand and take the responsibilities of the game. So it is the team who is winning the game and it is the team who is losing the game. So people should not show the individuality when it comes to the matter of team. So that's a characteristics of a good team.
Either the whole team wins or the whole team loses.
Yes, sir.
Right. And since you are HR student, what does human quotient mean to you? Human quotient.
I'm not
From the perspective of a team, from the perspective of the capacity of a human being to deliver something, what does human quotient stand for you?
for me, sir, human quotient would be to understand the other person's human traits or the emotions of the human trait, what the person is feeling and how he will react to a particular situation. I think that is in synchronous with the emotional quotient.
All right. Thank you.
Shivang,
Yes, sir.
movie dialogues and the compilation
Yes, sir.
is also one of your hobbies. So, just give me a glimpse of your compilation. What kind of dialogues you have compiled?
So I have compiled a few motivational dialogues.
Like,
So there's a dialogue of Om Shanti Om, which is about the law of attraction.
okay,
So
what is it?
It is like, sir, कहते हैं किसी चीज़ को अगर सारी शिद्दत से चाहो तो सारी कायनात उसे मिलाने में तुमसे साजिश में लग जाती है.
Okay, and this dialogue has been inspired by
I
a
don't know,
very
sir.
famous author.
Sir, law of attraction, the person who have written the law of attraction.
Paulo Coelho.
Okay,
The entire universe
revolves,
conspires
yeah.
to,
Okay, sir.
right? Any other dialogue you compiled?
Sir, there's a dialogue which motivates me a lot. It's in movie Rang De Basanti. It goes like this. जिंदगी जीने के दो तरीके होते हैं. तो जो हो रहा है उसको होने दो, या तो दूसरा है जो हो रहा है उसकी जिम्मेदारी लो और उसको बदलने की कोशिश करो. So I believe in the second part, sir. We should not be status quo oriented.
Excellent. Very, very good. Now, often this is commented in the circles of the tax experts that India's tax to GDP ratio is very low. You
Yes,
must
sir.
have heard this.
Yes, sir.
What is the tax to GDP ratio of India right now?
Currently, it's at 11 to 12%, sir.
Is it low? And if it is low, what are the causes for it?
Certainly, sir, if we compare it to the OECD countries or the developed countries, it will be quite low, sir. They are around 33%. However, sir, we have because of the certain conditions, because we are not imposing tax on the agriculture income. So a large chunk of farmers or the population is exempted from it. And we have very less, around just 1 crore individual taxpayers who pay direct tax. There are around 3-4 crore people who file the returns. And sir,
But it is you see, low tax to GDP ratio, it is the function of the per capita income. In G20 countries,
yes, sir.
America's per capita income is $60,000
Yes, sir.
and yours is $2,100. Am I right?
Yes, sir.
So it is less to do with the compliance, tax compliance, and more to do with the per capita income. Am I right?
So there are both ways of looking at it. I would look at it say way ki we should focus on increasing the tax also. We can also increase the tax no matter the quantum of GDP we are having, and they are looking in the absolute terms, sir. In,
90% of the population is beyond the tax bracket.
in India, na?
Huh?
Yes, sir.
Because your tax bracket is,
Yes, sir.
rather whatever it is. Am I
Exemption,
right?
sir. Yes, sir.
So, can you blame the non-compliance to the tax as the main cause of the tax to GDP ratio?
Sir, non-compliance is one of the reason for it, because the people who have the capacity to pay the taxes, they are also trying to do tax planning. on
Indirect tax everybody is paying.
Indirect tax, yes.
It is only direct tax
Yes, sir.
which is in question here.
Yes, sir.
Compared to China, China's tax to GDP ratio is 14%.
Sorry, sir.
Now you are not 11, 12. Pre-pandemic, you were 16%.
Yes, sir.
Any thoughts on that?
So I have to read about it, I think so.
Thank you.
Okay. So we'll take you back to the waiting room for a while,
Sure, sir.
and we'll bring you back for giving our feedback to you.
Sure, sir.
Just
Thank you very
wait for a few minutes outside.
Thank you very much. Thank you, sir. May I come in, sir?
Come, Shivang. Have a seat, Shivang.
Thank you, sir.
Shivang, when is your interview scheduled?
Sir, dates have not been there.
So beyond 10th March.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And what is your opinion about today's mock interview?
So I need to be more prepared, sir.
Okay.
And I just came in a hurry, sir. So my phone also rings, so that gives a very bad impression.
And this is the first mock?
Yes, sir. Second one.
Second mock. Okay. Okay, Shivang. So I will like to tell you first of all where you need to prepare, and that is just by way of suggestion, because ultimately we would genuinely want you to be getting good marks in the interview. So the things which you need to definitely prepare is first of all knowledge about Uttar Pradesh.
Sure, sir.
We did not ask you much questions on Uttar
Yes, sir.
Pradesh, but that is one area which will invite lot of questions.
Sure, sir.
So it can be love jihad, it can be bulldozer, it can be division of UP, and Sambal also. Why Sambal is famous,
Sure, sir.
which you are aware of.
Yes, sir.
What are the things in Sambal?
You're asking me? Okay. So there are a lot of tourist places, which includes temples and mosques. Apart from that, it's a historical, folktale says historical capital of
So
Prithviraj.
read the gazetteer of Sambal
Sure.
to have a first-hand knowledge.
Sure.
And Uttar Pradesh, division of Uttar Pradesh may be one question. And they may also ask you that if you have to project UP as a destination for industries, what are the things that you are going to tell a prospective investor?
Investors.
So you must know about the agriculture, the crops, the power situation, the airports, okay, and the irrigation potential, the labor cost of land, you see. Okay. So these are the things, which are you
Basically, the factors of production. Which
factors of production, because you have a commerce background, so many things related to the economy and investment, all these questions may be asked.
Sure.
So prepare that for UP. Second is that BCom and MCom, so the situation of economy in the country, how the economy has come down as a result of three things in succession: demonetization, GST and COVID-19. And how the revival is taking place, okay. Some of the indicators, some of the facts and figures, because you are BCom, so you are expected to know. So the GDP and the balance of payments, the foreign exchange reserves, the export, and import, all these things you must prepare.
Sure.
Then also go through the budget. Budget will be presented 1st February. Go through the economic survey of India. Also understand what is corporate social responsibility. What exactly is the corporate governance and why ethics are important in corporate governance. Examples of unethical practices in corporate field. What are the impacts of a company society, impact on society, impact on economy, impact on environment. These are the three things. Also understand that a company is governed by which acts. So the latest, the company amended Company Act, new Company Act rather, in which again there has been amendments. So what is the role of independent directors? What is the role of audit committees? And which are the watchdogs, over corporate houses? So SEBI is there, Reserve Bank of India is there, ICAI is there, Ministry of Corporate Affairs is that you should know.
Okay, sir.
Then organizational behavior that you should, because supposing you are a collector, how will you change the behavior of the people working under you so that they are more helpful to people, they deliver, they are efficient, corruption comes down. So these are the things which they may ask you about, the changing the organization, the behavior in the organization. Okay.
Sure, sir.
And then optional again is commerce, so commerce questions will be there. TT, blogging, and making anthology of good quotes that you were asked to give some quotes, so you may be asked again the same question. And movie dialogues also. I asked you a question on PPP and many other questions relating to commerce they were asked to you. Those are the questions which will definitely come. But besides that, just a few general list of topics which I would like to mention. One is that read the constitution very well.
Sure.
And also read the election laws, so the representation of people. Also make a study of the Reserve Bank of India monetary policy and fiscal policy of the government. Role of finance ministry. Even elementary things may be asked: who signs the 1 rupee note, who signs a 5 rupee note, who signs a 100 rupee notes?
Okay, sir.
The promise of making the payment. Which notes are, there is a promise, which note there is not a promise. You see. What is the role of Reserve Bank of India or the central bank, that you should know. And then questions relating to privatization of public sector undertakings, PPP model, divestment, disinvestment, what is FPO, what is IPO.
Yes, sir.
So all these terms related to commerce they can ask you. And then also understand the foreign policy, how it has evolved, what are the important pillars of the foreign policy in India, and what is the relation between India and its neighbors.
Sure.
Then our relations with other countries in the world. Russia-Ukraine war, role of United Nations, is it effective or ineffective? Our membership, permanent membership at the Security Council. You may be asked that what are the points in our favor. Okay. The demographic dividend in our country, the aging population, the health challenges which we are facing. Yes. So what is the some of the important health reforms that would be necessary, keeping in view the COVID-19?
Yes, sir.
Then electoral reforms, because lot of criminalization of politics. Also, one nation, one election, state funding of elections, electronic voting machine, remote electronic voting machine, e-voting, calling back the representatives, you see.
Yes, sir.
So these are things, and police reforms. And so these are the reforms, good governance principles, and what are the values which are required to be present in a civil servant. And many questions may be asked that how will you reduce corruption, how will you make it responsive, how will you make it transparent, role of RTI Act, you see. So these are some of the things which may be asked to you. And if you have any questions, you can ask us.
Sir, वो पूछना है, as you ask, tell me a dialogue or a quote. So I should give a brief background, or I should directly tell you the...
You should give a quote, to the point, concise answer. If they ask you that from where have you been inspired by this quote, why did you like this quote, then you can explain that thing. Otherwise, try to give only that much which is necessary. Otherwise, you will lose sight of other questions. Because 25
Okay,
minutes में कितने question आपको मिलें? You have to field as many questions as possible. So give to the point answer, and there may be a supplementary. So when they ask for a supplementary, then give a detailed answer. And one more thing is that always try to prioritize your answer. The most important part of the answer should come first. Okay? If it is a controversial question, take it, but give both the sides of the picture. Like Article 370, demonetization, GST, surgical strikes, hijab controversy. These are all questions which may invite both the sides. So give both the sides. And if they ask you your opinion, try to follow the official line, not to go against it. If there is a court judgment, follow that court judgment. Okay? And then lastly, I would like you to read the constitution and the relation between legislature, executive, judiciary, and also the situation of the media's independence. Okay, and also understand what are the sustainable development goals, millennium development goals, the global problems that we are facing, public policy, how it is made, and also the reason why you want to join civil service. That you should give very, very cogent answer. That justified. Will you be sporting a beard?
No, sir.
You will not be keeping a beard. And the socks should be
Yes, sir.
color, should not be a different color.
It will follow black color, sir.
Otherwise, baki the remaining things are fine. Your delivery is fine. Your eye contact is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. Just a bit of knowledge on the areas which I have suggested, that will do you very good. Okay. And definitely you will perform very well.
And so one more thing, the question you have asked about nota, sir.
Huh.
So is it fine, sir, to take a stand, or I should be?
No. Nota, you see, there are two different views. One nota, what you put forward, one which I put forward.
Okay.
So you say that there are two different views about it. Some people see that nota is actually a negative thing. It does not yield anything. In fact, it leads to a position of indecision in the minds of the people.
Yes, sir.
And therefore, some people feel that nota should be abolished. But on the other hand, the nota gives an opportunity to a person, if he is not happy or satisfied with any of the candidates, the right answer which you gave, that maybe it will pave way for political parties to field good candidates, which ultimately is the strength of democracy.
So my answer is fine, sir.
Fine, absolutely fine. Okay?
Thank you very much.
All the best to you. You will
Thank you.
do well.
Thank you, sir.
Unacademy. Let's crack it.